Hi guys, this is Mrs. Lawrence and this is your lesson on Google Classroom under your classwork section under November texture ceramic food. So this is a clay food that you will make using your little cup of clay, and there are some other materials you need. You need this little dish that I included in your kit. You have a knife, a fork, not to eat your food, to make your food, and a sharp pencil would be great. Also a little cup of water. So these are the tools we use for clay. I'm going to show you today how to make pancakes and how to make a hamburger. You can make any kind of food you want. If you are happy with the first food, then take a picture of it and send that in to me for your grade. If you want to try both, fantastic, go ahead. And if there's something else in mind, then you can use the tips that I give you here of how to handle the clay and make whatever you'd like. But what's really important today is scale. Scale is one of our principles of design, our scale and proportion. So I gave you a dish this big. So it's important that the size of the food you make makes sense with the size of this little plate. So for example, I made this little hamburger, and it is the right scale for this size of the plate. So whatever you end up making, make sure that the size makes sense. Okay, so to begin, we are going to need some clay, and you're going to need about the size of your thumb. Clay is a little messy, but I promise you it washes right off. And clay is a mixture of sand and rocks all ground up with water. So we use water while we're making clay, and we also have to keep it shut so the water doesn't dry out, because then you'll just have a rock. So the first thing we're going to make is our pancakes. So you're going to do that by making a ball first. So I have 2 pieces of clay. Let me get a little more so we can make 3 pancakes. We're gonna make all 3 chunks of clay about the same size, so our pancakes end up being the same size. And then we are going to roll them into a ball. So you do that by cupping your hand, putting the little chunk of clay, and then rolling around like this. Okay, so I put the chunk of clay, and then I roll with my hand cupped. So what I'm going to teach you is how to make a nice flat piece of clay, which we also call a slab. Okay, so I have these 3 little balls. Now I'm going to press down and squish until it becomes flat like a pancake. And I'm going to do that with each one. Okay, and then whenever we attach clay, when we combine them together, we have to use water. Water is like glue for our clay. But first we need to score it. So I'm doing some deep scratch marks with my fork. Only on 2, because we need one on top. And that is giving the water a place to go. See how the water is sitting in there now? And now I can stack my pancakes, and now they will stick together, and when they're dry, they won't slide off. If I skip that step, they would break apart when the clay dries. Okay, so now we are going to get another ball. And let's go ahead and squish that, and we are going to make syrup. So I like to use a sharp pencil as a cutting tool. And we're just going to go around and make a wavy circle. So it looks like a splat of syrup. Okay, so now I'm attaching, so I have to score and add water. So you need to scratch where it's going, put some water, scratch what you're sticking, put water, and then you can splat that syrup on. Now, water is also used to smooth your clay. So I want that syrup to look like it's melting, so I'm just rubbing a little water till it slims down. It's really important not to use too much water because, like I said, your clay is made out of dirt and rocks. So if you add water to that, you are going to get a big puddle of mud. The last thing is the butter. So I'm making another little ball. Flatten it to make a slab. And now butter is a square. So I'm going to cut out a square. I'm making sure the size, the proportion makes sense with the size of the pancakes. And I have to scratch where it's going. If you're making things that are very tiny, you can also scratch with your pencil. Okay. So now we have 3 pancakes with syrup and some butter. And you can put this on your plate to dry. When it's all dry, you can paint it with your watercolor. So you would use a tan color, a brown color, and yellow. Okay, so those are your pancakes. If you're happy with those, you can go ahead and take it, after you paint that, you can take a picture and send that to me. Your clay is going to take probably 2 days to dry, and you can paint it all in 1 day. So you won't be able to send that to me yet. So similar to the pancake, we're going to make our hamburger. And see this hamburger patty and the bottom bun look a lot like the pancakes. So I'm going to get 2 chunks of clay. I'm going to roll it into a ball, cut my hand and roll, and then flatten. This is going to be my hamburger patty. Now I'm going to cut my hand and roll, and I'm making the bottom bun. Now this is up to you. Some people like their hamburger bigger than their bun. I kind of like when they're the same size. Okay, so I have my bun, my hamburger. Let's do the top bun now. So this is a little different. We are going to make a ball, but we want this to be like a half of a sphere, half of a dome, like a dome shape. So now with this one, put the ball of clay down, and then you are just going to press all around the sides until it turns into like a dome shape. So I'm not pressing the middle, I'm just pressing the sides of the ball, and then they'll get flat like that. You need to press the middle a little bit so it's not so pointy. Okay, and we can add some other things. You can add cheese or lettuce. So to make cheese, we're going to get a chunk of clay, roll, flatten, and then we're going to make a square for our cheese. So I'm cutting, you can cut with your knife or the pencil. I generally always do a pencil because it's more detail. Okay, so I have a square. I'm going to now attach that to my hamburger. So I have to scratch, put water, and then I can put the cheese on. Now, when you're at a restaurant, do you get served anything else with your hamburger? Maybe you get served a piece of lettuce. So we're going to roll out another ball. Now we're going to make this piece very flat. And now we're going to make a wavy circle, kind of like the syrup. And then we're just going to crinkle it a little bit like lettuce. So just make it a little wavy. Okay, and let's just make a tomato. So that is very similar to the pancake, but it's tiny. So we're gonna get a little tiny ball of clay and roll, flatten. And a tomato has a circle, and then there's like a star shape inside. So you can make that on yours too. Okay, and our hamburger bun can have texture too, right? It can have sesame seeds. So let's use our pencil and poke holes everywhere and give it some texture. So I'm going to make my hamburger patty and my bottom bun attached to each other. So I'm going to scratch and put water. So now I have the bottom bun, the hamburger patty, and the cheese are all attached. That's up to you. And let's see how they look on the plate. Let's pretend we're at a restaurant. So we have, this will come out, the lettuce, the bun, and the tomato. So I'm just doing that to plan. But now you're going to put everything so it will dry. Let's put everything out flat. When it's all dry, you will paint it. You just made sure everything fits on the plate. And when you are done painting, then you can upload this to Google Classroom. Again, this is on November texture because we added texture. And then ceramic food, or you can email it to me at catherine.lawrence@gusd.net. Good job, guys.